From Kerensky's stars came the 800, beneath a banner of truth and righteous light, to lift up those who had suffered and to smite down with fearful vengeance those who had ruled in the name of vanity or greed. Across countless posters, promotional materials, and even children's toys, there's no more common poster child for battlemech combat than the Warhammer. Created in 2515 by Starcore Industries as a quintessential mobile weapons platform, the Warhammer has spent hundreds of years proving itself as a battlefield threat that cannot be ignored. At 70 tons, the mech carried a healthy mixture of weaponry that could punch at different ranges, while also maintaining that ability to be lethal against specialized long-range attacks. It's not a surprise that when Kerensky's SLDF forces made the leap of faith into the periphery, they brought plenty of Warhammers with them. Though many ended up being lost in the Pentagon Wars and fighting between the clans over the years, the love for the Warhammer was not diminished. When it came time to update the classic mech designs using more advanced technology, the Warhammer was high on the list to receive the 2C treatment from clan engineers. As with many other 2C designs, the Warhammer 2C introduced in 2829 was given a mass increase, in the Warhammer's case by 10 tons. As history will prove, this went to good use. The battlemech was designed around an SJR-80 endo-steel frame to reduce weight and make for greater use of every possible ounce of that 80 tons allotted. To maximize its battlefield lifespan and reduce cost, the Warhammer 2C was not given an XL engine, which is a feature of so many other later clan Omnimech designs. As a result, the Type 10 320 Fusion engine wasn't destined to help the Warhammer 2C break any speed records. However, at a max speed of 64 km per hour, it could keep up with almost any 80-ton inner sphere mech on the battlefield. As we've seen with other 2C designs, often a considerable effort is made to address the limitations of the inspiring cousin mech. The Warhammer 2C is no different. The two most common complaints from the original Warhammer were its lack of armor and heat management issues. To a lesser extent, the amount and location of the mech's ammo in the torso is noted, but is related to that lack of armor. To address the issue of protection, the designers of the Warhammer 2C deemed to use 12 tons of forging ZM-15 ferrofibrous armor, which bulks up the mech's protection considerably. This is a significant improvement from the original 3025 Warhammer's 10 tons of standard armor. Additionally, the armor of the Warhammer 2C is placed in a manner to maximize angled protection and to maximize deflecting shots. These angled and curved ferrofibrous plates required a specialized manufacturing process, but it was deemed necessary for both form and function. As far as the heat issue goes, the addition of plenty of double heat sinks significantly improves the mech's ability to fire consistently with most of its weapons. Of course, all the fancy armor, solid engine, and endo-steel bones are nothing without the weaponry to properly apply force to an enemy. The Warhammer 2C does not disappoint. The primary weapon systems were originally a pair of Mark 18 extended-range particle projection cannons, which extended the mech's range across most battlefields. In the medium and short ranges, the prospects for an opponent surviving long diminish, with a medley of 5 14A medium pulse lasers and a Pattern J7 short-range missile 6-pack. Light mechs intending to close the distance and push against the Warhammer are going to have to dodge 5 medium pulse laser shots every turn. Even going fast or jumping, eventually those lasers are going to start scoring hits. The weapon's loadout was so effective and popular that even after a dozen major reconfiguration attempts over the years, the original loadout remains in production and is much desired by warriors of the clans and the Inner Sphere. The final design was technically a second-line battlemech once the Omnimechs entered the clan Tumens, but that hardly diminishes the mech's power as a heavy brawler. Countless battle reports reflected the tremendous damage that the Warhammer 2C could dish out before it was taken down, usually by combined coordinated fire from multiple units. As the years passed, there were attempts to improve or at least iterate upon the Warhammer 2C design. Quickly after introduction, the Smoke Jaguars produced their own variant of the mech debuting in 2920, which replaced the medium pulse lasers in the torsos and head with 2 long-range missile 15 packs. Though it has been described as, quote, even more fearsome than the standard, I remain skeptical. While this does improve the potential long-range damage of the Warhammer 2C, it will suffer on the back end if light and medium mechs are able to close on it quickly. Even without a minimum range on those LRMs, giving up the accuracy and punching power of the medium pulse lasers is an ask too big for me. You could hit a light mech with multiple turns of LRMs and SRMs, and it could very likely survive. You don't have to hit a light mech with a medium pulse laser very many times before it starts to fall down. Whether you give the red or green light on the Warhammer 2C2 may boil down to your willingness to give up that short and medium range consistency for long range power. The Warhammer 2C was embraced by most of the clans, and Clan Diamond Shark was eager to take advantage of the market for the design. The 2C3 version of the Warhammer was introduced in 3060 to take advantage of the new large heavy laser technology. With one in each arm, along with 5 medium pulse lasers spread across the torsos and a targeting computer to improve the performance of everything, the 2C3 is a very powerful battle mech that can operate as long as the pilot can inside. Though energy weapon dense, the 22 double heat sinks keep the mech running within operational limits even when consistently firing both large heavy lasers. Just pondering the -3 to hit modifier on those 5 medium pulse lasers should give anyone pause. Losing the SRM-6 hurts a bit, but it's open to discussion concerning if it's worth it to add the 2 16 damage lasers and the targeting computer. With the range difference between the ERPPC and the large heavy laser, the Warhammer 2C3 is definitely relegated to the role of mid and short range brawler rather than the jack of all trades like the original loadout. Not leaving well enough alone, Clan Diamond Shark kept tinkering and came up with what is known as the Warhammer 2C4. Standard upgrades to the electronics package are noteworthy, as well as upgrading the PPCs to a newer Type DDS Kingston ER-PPC. However, the largest change with the 2C4 is the removal of the SRM-6 and medium pulse lasers in exchange for 2 ATM-6 missile launchers and an ER small laser. I'm feeling good about this variant, but only because it includes 5 tons of ammo for those ATMs, which would allow for plenty of types of ammo you expect to use on the mission. This variant, along with the 2C3, ended up earning a reputation as quite powerful, as Clan Star Adder used them along with a plethora of other second-line mechs to crush Clan Bloodspirit on York. The intention was to humiliate the Bloodspirit warriors in their Omni-Mech designs with mechs that appeared inferior, even though they were brand new refits like the Warhammer 2C3 and 2C4. Other clans were paying attention, and since then these variants have been seen elsewhere in Clan Tumans. The Warhammer 2C5, first fielded in 3070, is yet another 2C variant which received the Hyper Assault Gauss Rifle treatment. With a HAG-20 in each arm, 4 medium heavy lasers, and a Streak SRM-4, this Warhammer loadout feels more like it's a rifleman instead. With the 2-hit modifier of those medium heavy lasers, it's susceptible to being cornered by fast-moving mechs that are willing to get close. Trying to roll 10s, 11s, and 12s on those heavy laser dice is going to get tiresome when targeting lights and mediums. While the potential 40 damage of the 2 hags looks nice on paper, I think this variant is going to be either a big win or a dud in a fight, with very little in between. Debuting just a year later, the Warhammer 2C6 retains the iconic ERPPCs, but pulls out the medium pulse lasers and SRM pack in order to make room for a HAG-30. While this one is potentially quite deadly at range, there are only 15 double heat sinks, so you're not going to be able to consistently fire all 3 big guns every turn. A HAG-30 can be devastating at any range, but it's going to boil down to your philosophy concerning how to handle those close, quick targets. The 2C6 ended up not being very popular. It has only been spotted amongst Clan Ghostbear and the Outworlds Alliance, or the Ravens Alliance. It might boil down to your choice between having 5 medium pulse lasers that do a decent amount of damage, or one big weapon that can be a mech killer if it hits. Now for the Warhammer 2C7, we have something quite unique. The Snow Ravens, ever interested in space combat, decided to build themselves a Warhammer 2C variant, which was sealed up for and could use jump jets in a zero-G environment. In order to make room, the engine was upgraded to an XL, the arms retain the ERPPCs, and 2 of the medium pulse lasers are also kept. The remaining weaponry consists of 2 ER medium lasers, an ATM-6 launcher, and an ECM suite. It also has 2 tons of cargo in the center torso devoted to holding fuel for the jump jets. It's a little difficult to judge this variant as it's so specially tailored to a unique environment. If you're headed out onto the hull of a jump ship or being dropped onto the moon of a planet without an atmosphere, the Warhammer 2C7 could have a distinct advantage over your standard battle mech. Outside of that environment, you're probably better off with one of the other variants. The Warhammer 2C8 is the result of continued tinkering by Clan Diamond Shark in the late 3070s. The inclusion of the Type 79 400 XL engine maxes out the unaugmented speed of an 80-ton battle mech at 86 km per hour. Interestingly, the same engine is used in the Phoenix Hawk 2C. It shucks the ER-PPCs in favor of 2 heavy large lasers, 2 ER medium lasers, 1 streak SRM-6, and 2 plasma cannons. There are little differences, like a slightly reduced level of armor to buy room for the prolific amount of weaponry here, but overall, it's an interesting variant that provides some options at the medium and short ranges. The addition of plasma cannon technology should put fear into the hearts of infantry, battle armor, and mechs that are already running hot. There is an ammo concern for the plasma cannons, as you only get 10 shots each, along with a streak SRM-6 which only has 15 shots. A Mechwarrior is going to need to make those shots count in anything other than a short engagement. Additionally, heat management is going to come into play, as those large heavy lasers are hotboxes that will nearly max out the 19 double heatsinks just on their own. Add in any of the other weapon systems in the same turn, and you're going to be running a heat deficit. If you fired an Alpha Strike, we're looking at 64 heat generated that turn. Now that's one toasty Mechwarrior. The Warhammer 2C9 hits the battlefields in Clan Tumens in 3086. Its most notable feature is an XXL engine, which allows it to hit that top speed of 86 km per hour at the cost of additional critical slots in the right and left torso. The primary weapons are a pair of rotary AC-5 autocannons, along with an LRM-10, 2 ER medium lasers, 2 ER small lasers, and an ECM suite. While the rotary autocannons can be fun, I'll give it that, the rest of the mech really doesn't justify the XXL engine, which makes the destruction of either the left or right torso a mech kill. That drastically reduces the time this mech can remain functional on the battlefield. No sir, I don't like it. Unless you're really into rotary AC-5s, I can't think of a good reason why you would take this variant if others are available. In 3120, the Warhammer 2C10 did an interpretation of the Rifleman 2C by employing not 2, not 3, but 4 ER large lasers split between the arms. Combined with 2 standard SRM-6s and a single ER small laser, the 2C10 is an interesting departure from the typical 2 main weapon loadout of previous Warhammers. It does have 23 double heatsinks, which is almost enough to consistently fire all 4 ER large lasers if you're stationary and have nowhere else to be. I don't have too much more to say about this version except that it makes me wonder what a 4 large pulse laser version might look like. The Warhammer 2C11, don't worry, we're almost done with the list. Almost. Was first produced in 3124 and, like so many other Dark Age variants, returns to a standard engine and more standard weaponry. The C11's 2 primary weapons are a pair of large heavy lasers and dual streak SRM-6s. Adding in an ER medium laser, this mech is definitely a medium and short range brawler. The unique feature on this variant is the addition of an A-pod in each leg. This equipment, when activated, fills a 15-meter wide area around it with shrapnel designed to wipe out infantry. It's a one-shot weapon, but it can save a mech from being swarmed. I think it's an interesting addition which really highlights the rise of infantry use during the Dark Age era. In 3130, the Warhammer 2C12 revisited the XXL engine in order to hit that top speed of 86 km per hour. The weapons loadout is somewhat close to the original, sporting 2 ER-PPCs, an SRM-6, 2 ER medium lasers, 2 ER small lasers, and an ECM suite. The twist on this design is the use of heat-dissipating armor, which is actually a Capellan invention. Kind of strange to see that on a clan mech. When hit by fire, plasma, flamers, or infernos, the heat effect from those weapons is cut in half. Not too shabby in an era where plasma cannons and plasma rifles are showing up in more and more battle mechs. It's an interesting variant, though I cannot get past putting an XL engine on a clan mech, especially without a very, very compelling reason. And the 2C12 just does not have that compelling reason. Finally, the Warhammer 2C13 is the last one we're going to touch on, and it is the latest of the bunch. I'm pretty fond of it for a variety of reasons. Unlike many clan designs being produced within the Inner Sphere at the dawn of the Ill Clan era, the Warhammer 2C13 is actually primarily produced by the Raven Alliance at their industrial complex Alpha on the planet Dante. The engine is an XL, but that weight savings is put to good use. The 2 DDS Kingston ER-PPCs are backed up by 2 LRM-15s, 4 medium pulse lasers, and an SRM-6. The LRM racks have 3 tons of ammo to keep them firing for quite a while, and the medium pulse lasers along with the SRM-6 are great for that short-range quarreling. This loadout very much has that Warhammer feel to it, even with the addition of the 2 LRM racks. Looking at the 2C13 in comparison with the original 2C, A little bit of survivability is sacrificed with that XL engine in exchange for those 2 LRM-15s, so deciding which one to take into battle may depend upon your risk tolerance. When discussing the 2C mechs, the Warhammer 2C is often referenced as one of the toughest to fight in the tabletop game. I think it's because the 2C version really has done a good job addressing the lack of armor, the heatsink issue, and by virtue of being a clan mech, the use of case to protect that ammunition. The common use of standard engines, and really only occasionally the XL and the XXL engine, suggests that those who employ the Warhammer 2C understand it's meant to hit early, hard, and be one of the last mechs to fall should things turn sour. The CGL model for it is top-notch, and really conveys the power of the machine, even if it means taking up a little real estate in the neighboring hexes. The original Ral Partha Mini was even boxier, and it's one of those which really hasn't aged as well, I would say, as the Marauder 2C model and other 2Cs. Ironwind Metals has the 2C4 and 8 in the style of the Project Phoenix art, which is respectable, though personally it doesn't scream Warhammer to me. Do you have any Warhammer 2 stories, good or bad experiences? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing about the wacky antics. If you thought the video deserves it, hit all the buttons, like and such, and the easiest way to support the channel is by hammering that subscribe button so that YouTube knows my content is worth showing to other people. The algorithm demands it. Going one step further and becoming a channel member directly contributes to the channel's continued existence, and I appreciate it. Membership provides access to my Discord, where we talk BattleTech, other games, post art, painted minis, post memes, and just generally hang out. Good times had by all. Until we meet again, take care and go make the world a slightly better place today and tomorrow.